G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen. If you love ribs and you haven't tried this, then you must give it a go. It's one of those non-foul type recipes that just turns ribs into something absolutely mouth-watering and delicious. So join me today as I make my version of 3-2-1 ribs. First of all, one of the biggest mistakes people make with ribs is by not removing the membrane on the back of the ribs. So make sure that's the first thing you do. All you have to do is just score the meat and use a bit of paper towel to grip it and pull it off. Okay, so we're going to make our initial rub. So into a bowl, I'm going to place in a 1/4 cup of apple juice, followed by 1/3 cup of mustard, yellow American mustard I'm using, and a tablespoon of worcestershire sauce. And just give it a good mix until it's all well combined. Okay, so I've got our ribs here, and now remove some of the fat, but you want to keep some of it on there, because that's where half the flavour is. Okay, so we're going to start by basting one side with what we just made up. Okay, once that side's basted, we're going to add some seasoning. Now you can be as simple as salt and pepper, or a steak seasoning, but I'm kind of partial to Traeger's chicken and pork rub. So I recommend that you give that one a go, but if not, you don't have to. Just use your favourite type of spice. And once done, just simply turn it over, and we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. And this is where it's really important that you take that membrane off, just so it can all soak in on this side as well. Now for my smoke, I'm going to use a mixture of hickory and cherry, but it's completely up to you what flavour you choose. Okay, now we have our smoker going. We're going to place our ribs meat side up onto our grill. And this is where the 3-2-1 comes into it. For the first 3 hours, we're just going to smoke our ribs. So close the lids, don't touch it, don't open it, don't check it, just let it smoke away for 3 long hours. Okay, so it's been 3 hours, so let's take a look. Oh, that's some good smoked ribs. So the lovely smoke has penetrated the meat, so it's ready for the next step. So next I'm going to use some aluminium foil. Now you want to use the good quality premium one, which you'll find is like 2 to 3 times thicker than normal foil. If you use just normal kitchen foil, you'll need to double it or triple up the amount that you use. Because you want these to be sealed, you want to make sure that no liquid's going to come out of the foil. So we're just going to start by making the foil into like a boat type shape. So you just want to build up the sides for when we pour the liquid in, that way the liquid's not going to run out. So I've taken our first rib off the smoker, and we're just going to sprinkle on some brown sugar. And this will give it a nice, lovely, sweet glaze. And then on top of that, I'm going to place on some honey. Okay, so with our sides done up, of course, I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of apple juice, about 1/4 to half. And this will keep the ribs nice and moist. Okay, so we're just going to do up the foil now, but as we're doing it, we want to make sure it's sealed, but we don't want the top of the foil touching the ribs. So we want to create like a steam air pocket on the top that'll let the steam circulate throughout the meat. That way you get those lovely moist ribs without the dry spot on top. Plus it also gives a chance for that glaze to work its magic. Okay, so we're going to place our ribs back onto the grill, and you want this to be an indirect heat, so don't put it over any coals or gas. Make sure it's on the side where you don't have the direct heat touching the bottom. Now you want to try and keep the temperature at about 225 degrees Fahrenheit, which is also about 110 degrees Celsius. And we're going to keep it as close to that temperature as we can for the next 2 hours. Okay, so it's been 2 hours, so now it's time to move on to the final step. Now you just need to give the aluminium a minute to cool down, and it's safe to touch and it won't burn you. So we're just going to open her up. Just be careful, the steam's going to start coming out. Now as you can see, the meat has started to pull away from the outside of the bone. That means it's coming along perfectly. So we're just going to transfer this to a plate. And our last step, we're going to baste it with some sauce of our choice. But for this particular one, I'm using Baby Ray's. But give them all a go, experiment. So just put a layer on there, and we're just going to just cover it up with our sauce. Okay, once that's covered, turn it upside down, and we're just going to do exactly the same thing. Okay, so once done, we're going to put them back on the grill, again, indirect heat, and we're going to cook it for a further 1 hour at 225 degrees Fahrenheit or 110 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the final hour is up. Let's see how they look. Oh, yum. Oh, they are looking just perfect. So what we have to do now is take them off the grill. So we've smoked these ribs for 3 hours and slow cooked them for a further 3 hours. And look at how easily this meat just comes apart in your hand. It just comes straight off the bone. It is absolutely fantastic. But let's give one a try. Oh, that is super fantastic. It is literally melted in my mouth. It is so good. You can taste that delicious smoked flavour. It really, really is fantastic. So this is one of the older ways, but still one of the best ways to make slow cooked smoked ribs. Because as long as you follow every single step exactly, these ribs are going to come out tasting simply delish. And it's also one of those no-fail recipes. It's just so easy to do. And these ribs will taste better than any you'll buy in a restaurant. So thank you for watching this episode of Todd's Kitchen. As always, I'll leave a list of ingredients down below, as well as links to my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Home Handy Hints channel. And please do me a massive favour by giving this video a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for another delicious recipe.